break, Joe, I'm just going to say Joe, I'm not going to give last name obviously, sent me a message through wideawakenews.com through the leave a comment section there, and I was telling Eric, you know what, I need to read more of these good comments instead of occasionally coming out and talking about the bad comments, because I've been known to do that. I'll come out here, I won't freak out or lose my mind over it, but I'll get comments, today would be a prime example, and who knows, I very well could get one before the day's out, talking about how we had a 200-point rally on the Dow, look, everything's getting better, the problems are getting solved, and that will inevitably end up on the radio or in a video where I'm talking about, the naivete of some people just to believe anything that is put out through the mainstream. So let me read this comment, but the point is this: instead of occasionally letting those kind of comments enter into the program, I need to make sure that the positive comments, which far outnumber it, are represented on the program when we talk about comments. So here we go. Charlie, I love the bleep out of your show, and Eric Lovely is awesome as well. I love the commentary and the down-to-earth, no BS. I've been listening for a while now. Just thought I'd send a quick message. Boots with wings on your journey, my friend. Keep up the good work. Joe. So that was a very kind message, and I greatly appreciate those kind of messages. And I'm telling you, one good comment it sometimes turns a day around doing, the things that we do here. Working on the website early in the morning, working on videos, working on the radio program. When I see this kind of response, that people are listening, and not only listening, they're taking something away from the program, maybe using it in their own life to wake folks up or whatever, however this information can be used by them, it really makes a difference to me. So I appreciate these comments. Eric Lovely, we're talking about Europe, we're talking about, Draghi, these names, man, and I think back to Al Gore and his cohort Blood, so we had Blood and Gore. I mean, it just seems, even the names are right out of Hollywood. But we're talking about the rally today being strictly 100% fostered by more optimism. That's it. We have him coming out saying he's going to do anything, everything, including throwing the people into serfdom for the rest of eternity, paraphrasing there, of course. And we see this big rally in the Dow, and this animal spirit, this notion that we can have a central bank come out, utter a few words, and then everything's better, and we're going to see this big rally. And the notion that the populace in general buys this is legitimate is terrifying. This is more terrifying than a real crash, a real collapse. I want more people to understand that when we should use these indicators, excuse me, as exact opposite, right? We see the Dow go up 300 points. We should be worried, because that means one thing, and one thing only. It doesn't mean the economy's getting better. Let's get this straight. It doesn't mean the economy's getting better. It means the exact opposite. It means it's about to get worse, because we're about to issue more debt. If we see the economy plummet, then we'll really see a collapse, a true financial, complete to the bottom collapse, so we can call out these criminals and throw some of them in handcuffs and in prison for the rest of eternity, rather than humanity going that direction. Eric Lovely.
Well, definitely. I think there's a whole lot more behind this. You see, there were certain particular nations involved, and you're talking about Italy, you're talking about Spain, as you see the headlines, you see the news coming up through this, supposed new agreement, new bailout, whatever you want to call it. And what happened is that some of these nations were challenging the power of the debt creator because, supposedly they didn't want to be slaves to the debt creator. Whoever creates the debt is the master of those who take and consume the debt. That's just simple logic. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of it as to how this European thing. You saw the IMF and the Federal Reserve make a play to shake the foundation of the control that Germany is seeking. Okay? And people just simply, they don't seem to understand that this is a financial takeover of Europe by the German institution. So what happened? Basically what happened is Germany, when they saw that they were being challenged, okay, for their seat of power, excuse me, Merkel comes out and allows her press to release documents and release information about what's going on in Syria. So in other words, they fire back. Now, what did these documentation have in it? They confirm that between 10 and 20,000 insurgents were pushed into the nation of Syria. They are not Syrian nationals. They are not Syrian citizens. They are members of the Al-Qaeda military force. Merkel also released that 90 confirmed terrorist acts have taken place in the nation of Syria against the government by Al-Qaeda. Okay? In other words, terrorist activity, 90 of them have been confirmed that there was terrorist activity taken out on the citizens of Syria and the military of Syria in an attempt to topple the Syrian government. They also released other information that there were 20 other terrorist acts that have taken place in the last, I think it was 7 months, that were unknown operatives and unknown agents. In other words, they weren't Syria, and they were supposedly not Al-Qaeda. So she basically laid out all of these facts in front of it, and when that information was leaked to the public, what happened? Everyone crumbled. The banking agreement went through just as the Germans wanted it to. This is what happened, which then gave you what? An upswing in the markets. Now, we can also look at what Clinton said. Now, people don't understand that this is Adolf Clinton. Okay, that's her new name. I'm not going to call her Billerby anymore. Adolf Clinton. She said, this is what she said, until Article 7 sanctions are adopted and agreed upon, that they would support the activities in Syria and the terrorist attacks would continue. Now, what is she saying? She's threatening them. She's threatening the United Nations. She's threatening Russia. She's threatening China by saying, yeah, we're the one doing the terrorist activity in the nation. So what? If you don't like it, then you agree to what we've laid on the table. And the Article 7 clearly dictates that the final draw is military intervention by an outside source. People just don't, they think that somehow there's something new going on. And I always go back in history and compare this crap to history and tell you that there's nothing new under the sun. What is Clinton doing? Okay, basically what you're seeing happen in Syria, Libya, in all of these different places is you're seeing a surrogate army, okay, basically a slave army from an outside source invade a nation on behalf of another party to create what that party wants or wants to get. And it also then gives that original nation with the agenda reasonable deniability to say, hey, it wasn't us. The British Empire used to use Irish conscript armies. They would take the Irish, they would basically take these slaves, give them weapons, train them, turn them into an army, put them on British boats, sail them somewhere, and tell them to invade a nation in favor of the British agenda and the British ideology. This is the exact same thing that NATO and the United Nations are doing, or the American power, the bankers, are doing with these Al-Qaeda. They are our surrogate army. We arm them. We equip them. I did it in another show and asked, where are these guys getting these weapons? You see the videos, they're trucks with these giant anti-aircraft guns. Where did they get these weapons? It's because they are a surrogate army so that America can say, oh no, we don't have boots on the ground. No, it's not us. It's them Al-Qaeda people. But hey, we like them because they're doing a good job. They're nothing more than a surrogate army. We are at war with Syria. We were at war with Libya. We were at war with Egypt. We still are at war with Egypt. You see that the Egyptian army, when you start researching Clinton's claims and Merkel's claims, that some of these injected soldiers are Al-Qaeda army detachments from Egypt. Okay, they also are contained, if you look at the Egyptian government, the military junta, as they want to call it, they are in complete control and do not have any desire to relinquish power through to their people. I mean, this is the reality, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are killing, murdering, and maiming people in other nations for our own agenda. not for the American people's agenda, but for the agenda of the Marxists, whether you like it or not. That's what's going on here. And the ruling party is that this all goes back to an old phrase way back in the 1300s, 1400s, when you start looking at Irish and the Irish conscripts. It's called prima nocta, okay? The part of it was taking the first wife, or the night when you got married, the Lord would come in and sleep with your new wife, taking her virginity and hoping to impregnate her to breed out the Irish and breed in the British bloodline. People just, they have no concept of this. And you know, since I'm all hot and bothered, let's handle the gun ban situation. And this is me. My name is Eric. I'm of the lovely family. I speak for myself. I speak only for myself. And if anyone agrees with me, good for you. If you don't, that's your problem. But let me explain this to you. I want all you federal agents, supercomputers, CIA guys, NSA guys, congressmen who may review this at a later date, or the president, or any of your administration, or the bankers, or anyone who possibly could be involved. Obama, hey buddy, you're right. An AK-47 and an AR-15 is for a battlefield. But here's what you don't understand, you slopehead. Mr. Obama, my weapons are made to kill people. The Second Amendment is the embodiment of my ability to wage war on despots and disgusting politicians and all of their minions. That's what they're for. So yes, you're right when you say that they should be on the battlefield. Well, guess what? They are here in case a battlefield ever comes to me. So no, you can't have them. You can sign whatever you want tomorrow. You could sign 12 of them. You could put it on billboards all over the place. You can't have my guns. You're not getting my guns. And you know what really disgusts me about this situation is that your piece of crap ass, sitting in the White House, you're too much of a coward. You know, and I would have more respect for you if you tried to come down the street and take my gun yourself. But you're not going to. You're going to take some hapless moron who's trying to feed his family, and you're going to send him down the road to get killed. That's what you're going to do. Why? Because you're a coward. You're a spineless guppy. You're like every other Marxist who come before you. You're weak, you're incompetent, you're small-minded, and you're a chicken shit.
Well, I didn't get anybody's attention, did it, Eric?
I hope it did. You know, you got people in office like Hillary Clinton here, you know, Adolf Clinton.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I understand your frustration. And here's why. Because what you said prior to that is, well, even that, but prior to that, talking about this war we're waging, you know, and we've seen it. We've seen it recently with the announcement of chemical weapons. We've seen it with the announcement of more and more atrocities, this outrage we have by Clinton and by McCain and by Lieberman and by Graham, all these same people over and over again making sure it's bipartisan, coming out talking about the removal of these despots. And the fact is, we are supporting, this is Libya redo, but only far, far worse, right? Where we have what we know now. We know for a fact these are what the same individuals we were fighting, or that we're told is our enemy, in Iraq and Afghanistan and in the rest of the world. They came over here and they came to take our rights in 9/11, and we've spent a decade prosecuting a war against an enemy we can never defeat, that can't surrender, and now we're sitting here while these same exact individuals are in Libya first and now Syria, and we're calling them freedom fighters. I mean, it is beyond frustrating when you look through the fluff of the mainstream lies and you dissect the lies coming out of D.C. and realize all of this equals one thing: your future, your blood, your sacrifice, your money, your nation's name, your name being drug down into a deep, dark place. And it is time that this realization is spread from coast to coast in this country. We need to realize that these things that are happening aren't happenstance. They're not inconveniences. These things are destroying our nation, and more importantly, they're setting up this country not only to be facing real threats in the future, but destroying the once great republic that we were, but setting up enemies that have legitimate gripes against this nation. I can't even imagine what would happen. I attended a funeral today for a 24-year-old kid, and I'm sitting there in this funeral. He died because he had a weak heart. He was born with a defect, and he had 24 great years, but then it stopped. And I'm sitting there in this funeral, and I'm thinking, how many of these horrible, tragic events are happening? Not funerals. They happen every day. I mean, death's a part of life. But usually we go to these and we're seeing a bunch of gray-haired individuals or their friends of the departed, and they're sitting there with 70, 80, 90 years of life behind them. But how many corners of this world are there hundreds and thousands daily of 20-year-old, 19-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, 5-year-old kids being killed and butchered, slaughtered? How many grieving individuals are out there because their loved ones' lives are cut short? And this is being done in our name. We need to understand this. It's being done in our name. Regardless if we support war or not support war, it is being done in our name. So I understand your frustration, Eric.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's beyond frustration, man. It's into the Department of Disgust. I mean, the people who run this nation, the people, the bankers, the governors, police officers, I hear all of these people continuing to, we got to hold on to hope because there's good this and there's good that. Look, it's disgusting. The whole entire society is degenerate, disgusting, nasty, the most evil, and the reason why people like me, and the reason why my speech, and the reason why the common law and what I believe in is public enemy number one, is because we challenge their degenerate, disgusting authority. That's what it boils down to. And we need to start remembering what it was like to be men. I know there aren't many of us left, but we need to remember that we have a pair floating around down there, and that it's time to step up to the plate and be real men, and take care of those who are innocent and who are less fortunate. And you know what? That doesn't only mean our own, because you need to go to the Red Cross, you need to look at the numbers. Look at the numbers of the women and children that have been just disgustingly mutilated in over 7 nations, from Yemen to Iraq to Libya to Syria, and we continue to we stand around and we let this degenerate piece of crap, Clinton, get up on TV and cackle like an old sow. Somebody needs to put in... we need to do something. We need to stop discussing this and worrying about this security state and these people and what they may or may not do to us, or what lists they put. Just go ahead and put me on all the lists. I'm good with it. I'm trying for every list you got. I'm trying to get on it. I'm trying to get as close to the top as possible, because, hey, if you're going to win a race, you got to be number one. So I'm just going to do what I got to do, speak my mind, speak my heart, and drive myself to the top of the list, because you guys simply disgust me. The FBI, you're a bunch of degenerates. You run around chasing these people. You create terrorists out of nothing. You take taxpayer money to create a criminal to prosecute. I mean, so that you can sway the opinion of morons running around. This is the whole reason why democracy doesn't work. It's the whole idea behind the reason why our forefathers said the most disgusting form of government is a democracy. So that's what this is. What you see is nothing but degenerate, disgusting lowlifes. That's what they are. Clinton, her husband, the Bushes, 99% of the Senate and the House, everybody in the White House, everybody who draws a paycheck from this government, the police officers who will continue to carry out this nothing but revenue service on the streets, evicting people from their homes. You're just degenerates. You're disgusting. And it's time that the wheat and the chaff be separated.
Nothing I can add to that, Eric Lovely. I'll tell you, Eric's going to hang out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our break here in a minute. And when we come back, I'm going to calm Eric down for 10 minutes. I'm going to get him back on the rails. And we're going to bring Gabe Elton on from Austin Rare Coin. I know he's doing a giveaway, 10 ounces of silver. Hang out for that. And we're going to talk precious metals. We're also going to get a little bit more into economic news with Gabe, as well as Eric. And Eric, I mean, that was a rant of rants, buddy.
Well, I just open up, I look into my heart, open my mouth, and I let it fly.
All right, man. All right, guys, stay tuned. We're going to be back in 10 and a half minutes. I think I hear the music playing. I'm not sure because